It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special Holiday Monday episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. Nielsen, Gager, Hernan, and Matt Cassian with you the morning after an Oilers loss to the Winnipeg Jets. Two Guys and a Goalie brought to you by our friends at CoolBet.com. Sign up for an account today. Stay cool. Bet responsibly. Boys, what's up? Cass, how are you, bud?
Uh-oh.
We lost you, Cass.
Can't hear you.
He was right there.
I said I was about to sneeze.
Oh, there you go.
I've got a sneeze just sitting there, but it went away. So I muted it, and then I was like, "Oh, he's talking to me," and I forgot to unmute it.
Sorry, buddy. Horrible timing.
That's okay. I'm much like the Oilers yesterday. Horrible timing. I'm upset, Dusty. I'm upset today. I'm upset. I'm angry about the game yesterday. I'm angry about watching this team play, and my feelings are hurt by the play and that they lost like that in that fashion. It's disappointing and sad, and I'm frustrated with it. But aside from that, I'm good. You know, kids are running around, babies squawking, and it's a good day. Aside from the Oilers.
Are you on full blown dad duty right now?
I'm on two thirds.
That's not bad, buddy.
Dad duty. So I got the younger two right now. The older one she had an appointment, and so she's out with my wife at the appointment. So
wow.
Nice,
all right, well, we'll see how this plays out.
We'll see.
Yeah, should be good. Gager, what are your emotions today after that Game 3 loss, buddy?
I'm in a glass case of emotion. The doors of my office are glass, so
It works.
Yeah, no, it's weird. I'm so invested this year, I think, with the Oilers. They've pulled me in, and I've bought into everything that they've done. And so, not unlike a ton of other Oilers fans, it felt I was gut-wrenched yesterday. Just like it's almost worse being a fan than an actual player. I feel worse about if I probably would have actually played in that game, Dusty. It's because I think and probably Cass could touch on this too, is as a former player, when you're in it, at least you have some sort of control over it. And when the game started slipping away, and we talked before about this, of how, as a goalie, how I felt.
Done?
It was slipping away, and I couldn't. I couldn't handle it. Yeah, Cass, I'm done. Go ahead.
Hernan, you did post game last night. Fired up. I got it again this morning as well. Cass, good for Cass for trying to tough out a pod today, but he's looking after. Like his youngest is a year, so he's ready to think of it here. But Hernan, I saw later on you were drinking and tweeting. But how did the post game go?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like a bunch of calls. We had 460 texts. Everybody was just angry, and I only had 2 beers after the game just to calm down and the rush of the post game shows. So I just try to have some fun with saying Koski should start. Of course, I don't believe that, but you know what, Dusty? Like, it was funny because people were mad at me and Tom because we weren't fired up. But like, I was just telling Tom, like, I'm damaged, just like the fans. Like, you're almost numb, and you're always like, you weren't even. I wasn't even terribly surprised that they went down like that. I was like, well, it's the Oilers, so it happened. So I was kind of like the players that are just sitting there stunned, and it's funny because DVD posted a picture of the media conference today, and the players just look like their mood is just like somber right now. Like they better snap out of it if they want to extend this series. But Dusty, what a night, man. It was truly amazing, the collapse we saw.
I sat there and watched it start to fall apart, and I'm going, unbelievable. Like, this is unbelievable. And then I'm like, was it really that unbelievable? Like, we saw this with this same core group in 2017. Maybe it wasn't unbelievable at all, but that's basically what we're going to stick to today with Two Guys and a Goalie. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode here on a Holiday Monday, but we all wanted to get on here and try to dissect exactly what's happened in this series here for the Oilers. I only have one question for Keep It or Clip It a little bit later on, but it's a big one, so we'll get to that. But we got to talk about, brought to you by Break Kings. Did a break last night. It was about as disappointing as the game. I think think our biggest hit was like a Kopitar auto. I was just like, So, yeah, it was even the buzz in the break room at Break Kings was a little bit somber. People were like, oh, we're going to pull me 3 Oilers and then I'm going to lose them all. Like, it's just, people were not pleased. But hop on Break Kings. I got a Sunday break going on there, and they sponsor. We got to talk about it. And you know what? Let's start with me because we got some news on it. Josh Archibald has been suspended for 1 game for clipping on Stanley. Obviously, a moment that changes this series. I mean, the Oilers were trending towards being back in it, down 2-1 with all the momentum after a dominating Game 3 performance. And then Archibald goes low on the big guy. I'll never understand why. I mean, it just came across as stupid and selfish, and that's not who Archibald has been basically his entire time as an Edmonton Oiler. So I retweeted a video of it last night. I said, and this is where things changed. And people were like, are you kidding me? That's where it changed? I was like, yeah, like how obvious, how like it's the most blatant TSN turning point I've seen in a series in like forever. Because yeah, the team had chances to get out of it along the way. But if he doesn't take that penalty, the Oilers win Game 3. Cash, you're nodding your head. I mean, it's just the obvious, isn't it?
I absolutely agree. It wasn't the only thing, but it was the turning point. It was the beginning. It was the gust of wind. It was the proverbial anvil that broke the camel's back. Like that's what started all of this. And it was selfish. It was foolish. It was not like, and you're right. It's out of character for him. Like he hasn't done anything like that, but you know, he gets a little bit of a slash and he whether it's emotion or whatever, he gets out of hand and what are you doing against Logan Stanley? Like trying to cut out a guy and drop low like that. Like even if he just hits him normal up high, like it's fine. You're not going to take a penalty, and you just put your team in a bad situation against a good power play team, and that started the ball rolling. That was where the momentum in the game changed. It changed, and they from that point on, you know, the palms got a little bit sweatier, and they couldn't stop it.
It seemed like he had an axe to grind with Stanley, hey, from like some physical play that's gone on throughout the series. But I mean, take a number and address it when you're not up 4-1 in a critical hockey game. Hernan Gager, where do you guys come out on this?
Yeah, and isn't Stanley the one that clipped Josh Archibald on the Oilers' 4th goal, and he was pretty upset about it. And I thought Rishog nailed it on your show, Dusty, where he goes, Archibald, if there's one guy on the Oilers that knows how to hit, is him. He knew exactly what he was doing on that low bridge hit. He was going in for revenge, and we even got it on the text line last night saying that wasn't the turning point because it was only 4-2. But you saw Matthew Perreault go back to that bench. You saw the guys on that bench saying, "Hey, we're back in this. We get another one, and the wheels are going to fall off." And it did. So for me, it was the turning point of the game. And Josh Archibald, one of my favorite players. He does everything right, but that play,
except for that
moment, yeah, that's what we're going to remember all offseason is that stupid play by Josh Archibald.
Unless the Oilers win, then we can forget about it. But,
Ever an optimist.
Within a 7-game series, there's little battles within the series that you have with the other players, and there's those rivalries. And Stanley's been a beast, man. I watched him. He is an awesome defenseman to have on your team. Wow, he's like a young Chara almost with his physical play, the way he can move, his first pass. I don't know where I didn't notice him at all throughout the year, but I sure notice him now, and it's a one-on-one battle that you have against another player in a series, and Stanley won that battle. He got Archibald to step out of the way he plays normally, and the Jets took advantage, and that's a hard lesson to learn. And there's times to do that stuff, and there's I know what Archibald was trying to do, and I think because of the score and the way the things were going, maybe he thought he could get away with doing something like that. But it's hit him with a good hit. Hit him with, like, when he's got the puck and blow him up with something good and clean and make him go crazy that way. Don't do something dirty and at a time in a game when it's so crucial that the other team can use it for fuel to come back within that game. It's just a bad brain fart. Lesson learned. Let's never see it again.
You beat him on the scoreboard, Gager. That's, you want to stick it to a guy. You want to stick it to a guy for clipping you and playing dirty in a playoff series. You eliminate them and send them golfing. That's how you stick it to him. And then you look at him and laugh and say, yeah, you played me dirty. And guess what? We scored on that play. And not only that, we beat you and we came back in the series. And then, yes, later down in the future, if you get a chance to take a run at him, or if you want to take a shot at his knees, but it was immature. It was an immature, soft. It was a soft, immature play, and I hated it. It's hard because I love how he plays and how aggressive he plays, and I love the physicality. But it was just
got under his skin. He made him. He got him out of the way he normally plays.
That's the thing, because we've never seen Archibald do something like that, right? Yeah. It's crazy. All right, let's go. Hernan, what do we got to talk about, buddy?
Yeah, it's just the frustration of the series so far. 3 games, 3 missed opportunities. In game 1, you didn't have to go up against Ehlers or Pierre-Luc Dubois. And for me, I don't know if you guys agree, but I think Ehlers is top 2 forward on that team. He is fantastic, man. So imagine if the Oilers were without their second best forward and, let's say, a Nuge, because Dubois is kind of similar to what Nuge is, a center who's playing on the wing now. And the Oilers couldn't find a way to win that game. That was a missed opportunity for sure. In game 2, you get an excellent game from your goaltender, Mike Smith, right? Mike Smith was on the ball. He stopped Kyle Connor on a breakaway in all alone. He was holding down the fort. And again, you can't find that goal. You can't win it in overtime. Another missed opportunity that you let slip. And Ehlers was still out in game 2. And then game 3, guys, they played their best game for 50 minutes since the 2017 Game 6 against Anaheim. That was their best game we've seen in the playoffs since 2017. And with 9 minutes to go, they let it slip away. You can talk about the timeout. Dave Tippett said there was a TV timeout coming after the next whistle. And I thought Gazzola brought a good point. You take the timeout there, you calm the boys down, then you go back, and then the next whistle, you get another timeout. So you're slowing down the Winnipeg Jets, not once, but twice. So a couple of missed opportunities there. You're up 4-1, and you're playing the best game you played in the playoffs in a long time, and you let it slip away. So for me, it's so many missed opportunities in this. And Connor McDavid talked about learning these lessons in the past playoffs, and it seems like they haven't learned, guys. And I don't know if you guys agree with me, but eventually you have to learn these lessons, and it feels like the Oilers just still don't, because like Gager and Cass said, they took a hard lesson last year in versus Chicago and in 2017, and it's just same old.
Yeah, what else is there? What other lesson is there to learn here, guys? Don't suck in the playoffs. We're not, because they haven't sucked all series. I shouldn't say that. But don't panic. Is that the lesson here? Because to me, it's just like you had soft plays in your own zone, 4 of them. On 4 of the goals against, they were soft plays. And even as I was thinking about it after the post-game show yesterday, I was thinking about the face-offs, and I didn't look specifically. I couldn't break down period by period, but I'm willing to bet the Oilers were probably about 20 to 25% on face-offs in the third period. Where even on face-offs, their intensity all of a sudden dipped. And they were losing draws left, right, and center. And so even in overtime, they lose the game off of a draw. So it's just it ends up being soft mentally. I said in the post game show yesterday when Hernan and Tommy asked me about what one of the issues is, or is it a character issue? And I think it's true in that they don't trust themselves and they don't trust each other out there. And that, I don't know how you're going to learn that lesson, because that to me isn't a lesson that you learn. That's something that you have to actively make a responsible decision to do mentally. And they don't seem capable of doing it. And maybe that's me overstating or overreacting, but I'm upset. So I'm going to say it anyways.
Gager?
Yeah, I was thinking about the timeout thing, and I thought, I'm sure Tippett calls the timeout if there's fans in the building, because the place is going crazy. And I think just with the atmosphere, the other team's scoring, but I think he probably calls a timeout there just to settle everything down, because it was a little too ruckus. But yeah, like Cass said, I mean, we can nitpick and we can see the mistakes, and I mean, you said on your show today, when do you see Connor McDavid with all the time in the world behind the net wrap it around the boards with a hope play?
To nobody.
It was just it was so uncharacteristic of him to do something like that. It was a monumental collapse from top to bottom. Crazy. And I mean, watching that the second goal did Bear actually throw that in the net too?
It went off his glove. I don't know where it goes if he doesn't touch it. I think it might still go in, but it went off his glove.
Yeah. So I mean, the things are going well for the Jets too. Like but like they say, there's you get the breaks by hard work, and they're doing all the right things that the Oilers aren't. So, and the thing that I take solace in is they've done right things all year. It's not like they came into the playoffs ass backwards here. So, I really think they can come back in this series. There's some real 97 is just too good, and there's certain things that he can do that no one else can. And can he bring everyone else along with him? I do believe he can. So,
yeah, I don't know, Gager. Like I think McDavid can, and the Oilers can try for that. But the flip side of this is Winnipeg just came back from a 3-0 deficit or a 3-goal deficit in a game here, and the confidence they're feeling like is even if McDavid is having a night and they're down 2 or 3 goals, guess what? They know that they can come back and they can win these games now. And that to me is where I want to be hopeful here. And I want to say that there's still a chance, but just history is against them. Statistics are against them. And it is, of course it's possible. And I hope that they do, but I don't know. I'm having a hard time buying in after just watching the level of collapse and that it wasn't just one guy or 2 guys. Like the only guy that didn't fall apart was Mike Smith. He was the only guy that didn't fall apart. Everyone else just completely went off the rails. As you mentioned, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl turned over a whole bunch of pucks. Kulikov turned over a whole bunch of pucks, passing the puck into the middle of the ice to nobody. I don't know how many times the defensemen were behind the net or in one of the corners in the D zone and just soft plays up the wall to nobody. Like just completely falling apart here. So I want to believe that they can turn around, Gager, but I don't know. I'm not as optimistic as you right now.
I know I'm with you too a little bit, Cass, but I saw this year more than any of the previous years when the Oilers got down by a few goals, aside from last night in that collapse, I saw them stick to the plan. Like in years past, you would see them start pushing more and doing things uncharacteristic and trying hope plays, but they managed to get themselves back into games when they were down by a few goals and got back into the game. And I thought that was a sign of a mature team. We didn't see it last night, but it is still there. And I think this year they have done that more than previous years when I saw just a full throw caution to the wind with the game plan and try to play catch up. And how many times have you heard Oilers coaches over the past, we were playing catch up, and I haven't heard Tippett say it too much this year because I think it's a different mindset of how you're playing. If you're down a goal and you stick to the plan and get yourself back in, and maybe you still lose, but there's still a solid foundation of a game there. But what do I know?
You're just a goalie.
I'm just a goalie.
like the way they come out today, guys, I think is going to tell a lot about this team. Like it's like, can you see a blowout like either way?
I said this morning, buddy, I think it's a blowout either way tonight. I think the Jets either win 5 or 6-1 or the others win either 5 or 6-1.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if it's a tight one. Gager hit the over.
Log into my I just got to get into my account here. Over there. Okay. Got it.
I'll just quickly add this on Hernan's question. And I think another reason why people are so frustrated about this is that, and Gage, you mentioned the mindset of this team this year. Hernan, and when Cass comes back from saving 2 children again, I mean, how many times on post game this year did you guys talk about, wow, they really blew that one? All year they were protecting leads. Like they were doing a really good job at it. It looked like they had actually figured it out. And then the one time you needed to lock down a good lead, they didn't lock down the good lead when they did it all season, which I think has more people even frustrated and confused, to be honest with you. All right, Gager, what do we got to talk about, buddy?
Well, we just since I'm the goalie, we get into the goalie battle here, and this is a really good matchup with goalies. It's really, really good. Like two contrasting styles and great goaltending and timely saves. It's like I've loved the way Mike Smith's played. It reminds me of when he was in Calgary 2 years ago, when he was kind of the only guy there. He's playing great, but there's a guy at the other end that's just a little bit better. And I think the Oilers can come back, but I'm really scared about the play of Connor Hellebuck right now, because he is so solid in net to the point where I do believe that when the Oilers do take shots on him now, they do not believe that they can score. Okay. And that's fine. But the Oilers did a great job in the first period, I think, of putting the puck at the net and looking for something else. And it's a weird mindset of thinking that you can score on every shot. And you know, when you watch like Matthews shoot the puck, he thinks he's going to score on every shot. But some guys, they look a little bit tentative trying to shoot that puck. And if I could say one thing to those guys, if they are coming down the wing, and I would shoot into the pillows and look for rebounds, because at least 4 or 5 times when you shot far side on Hellebuck yesterday, and maybe he's reading it and doesn't see the middle drive, or there isn't anything there, but he is popping rebounds right back out to people for second chances in those situations. So I would really go into a mindset of putting the puck at the net and looking for something else. Like a pass off the pillows is never a bad play. But as for the goalie battle, it's great. But Connor Hellebuck is he's at a Vezina candidate winning level right now, and it's going to be very difficult to put pucks by him going forward.
And I think that's where it's the frustrating Gager, because they got 4 by him last night. Like,
I know that's the thing. That's
not going to happen often. And like, I truly appreciate you being you still believing. And I'm kind of more with Cass, where I hope they can get back in the series. I'm a little hesitant to believe in it, because I just don't see Hellebuck crapping the bed in the next couple of games. Like I just don't see it. And you brought up Logan Stanley, like Stanley, Tucker Pullman. They're having phenomenal series, and they're
better than the Oilers right now. They're
yeah.
I didn't think they would be. That's another thing that I don't think anyone's really talked about is I thought the Oilers going into this, their D would shine brighter than the Jets, and that hasn't happened.
Well, it's not like their D has been bad though. Like they haven't been bad.
Just a little better though.
Like the first 2 games, they barely gave up anything, really. And for the most part, in game number 3, they barely gave up anything either, until they decided just to start, just doing the here you go. Like, you remember I'm on Dumb and Dumber quotes recently, like the when they're standing on the steps. And they're just like, here you go. Like, that's basically what the Oilers did yesterday. And so, yeah, they are like, Winnipeg is playing really, really well. Edmonton, I think, has been playing decently up until, they just completely self-imploded.
The thing with I would have never believed if you came to me and said the Oilers got swept by the Jets and it wasn't Mike Smith's fault. Like if you were going to get swept by the Jets, I think we would have thought their goaltending went to shit, and it hasn't in any way. They're still on the verge of being swept by them, which is it's just crazy to think that this is the least likely scenario of how I would have saw this series playing out. Jets sweep, goaltending not the issue for the Oilers. That would have been at the bottom of the list as far as possible scenarios for this series.
So the Jets learned their lesson last year in the bubble, and the Oilers didn't. Is that basically what it comes down to? Because I thought they would roll the Flames, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, but remember, Scheifele got his leg cut open in game 1, and that changed quite a bit.
But you're missing 2 players this year. Like at the start, I don't know.
They're back now, baby. That Ehlers is good. That Ehlers is good. All right, Cass, if you're able to talk right now, let's get to what we got to talk about.
I wanted to talk about if you guys think like, how much of this is Tippett's fault, like the self-destruct, the falling apart in round one. How much of this is Tippett's fault? I think there's varying degrees. You could lay the blame at the feet of the coaching staff. Certainly the timeout, I agree. Like even if there was, and I didn't realize that it was one whistle till a TV timeout. But even with that, like Hernan said, I would take take two timeouts, completely slow the game down. Not only that, you can get your top guys on the ice. You get them a little extra rest before you get them out there, and then you get a little extra rest again before they're out there, so you can string them together and have your top guys on the ice for a good minute and a half if need be. Of that last 5 minutes, like that just eats up a big chunk of that. So there's some issues there, and then throwing the lines into the blender over and over and over again. He looked like a genius early in game 3, and then not so much late in game 3. And I guess less on that and more about the deployment for when he's putting players in, like situationally on the ice. Who's trying to overthink maybe the matchups that he's throwing out there. I just wanted to get your guys' opinions on where you stand, because I know a lot of the fans texting in and calling into the show Hernan had to deal with are just want him gone. Now he's not going to be. I don't think he should be gone. He should still be here. I still think he's a good coach. However, there are some issues that we've seen. I just wanted to get your guys' take on that.
Yeah, I mean, the timeout stuff is kind of. Who knows? They can still come back and tie. But I think the only issue, and I know we discussed it a lot on the post-game show, was that Dave Tippett had to switch lines every game. Like you have all season for that. You clinch with 4 or 5 games left to try out what you wanted to go with, and then every game he's had a new lineup. And I think that's where I think he kind of dropped the ball. Like you could, and listen, the lines yesterday, the new ones, I was fairly impressed with them. I thought they were pretty good, especially that Haas line. I thought they would be too small, but they generated a lot. But again, there wasn't a lot of the same lines we saw during the regular season. He went away from the dry line. He took Cahoon out of the lineup, and I'm not saying it was the wrong decisions, but just some of his in 3 games he made lineup changes, and I think that's a telling sign about like where this team is in terms of let's say call it whatever we want, secondary scoring, or just finding that right balance. So I think in that sense, Tippett's going to take a little heat. But I know yesterday people were asking for Tippett to get fired, but I mean, how can you? He's not twice.
Like there's no chance. They've had 2 really good regular seasons. They're going to have a great regular season next year because of the division they're in. It's going to be absolute garbage. He gets at least one more playoff to prove that this team can win around under him. Like, I think it's to ask for to actually legitimately think that Tippett is going to be fired. You got to be delusional. For 8 or 10 years in this market, they rolled through coaches like we do underwear. Like, it was ridiculous. It was coach after coach after coach. And yeah, I don't change my underwear very often. I can actually say that comparison. It was like 7 coaches in 10 years. You can't all of a sudden after 2 years be like, well, on to the next one again. Like, you've been looking for franchise stability. This guy has led you to back-to-back second place finishes, no matter the division you're in back-to-back years. Connor McDavid's had monster seasons. We don't like the timeout. The one thing I don't like about him, about what he's done this year, is it's his job to find a lineup that he likes. And when you are changing a lineup heading into game 1 and changing a lineup heading into game 2, changing a lineup heading into game 3, trying new lines with 4 games left in the regular season, to me, you haven't done your job throughout the year because you're still looking to find a spark. You can't be looking to find a spark in your lineup 59 games into the season. You just can't do. That's the thing that frustrates me the most. And at the same time, I kind of feel for the guy because you're rotating in 9 guys that are all the same and provide like only half of one thing for you. So it's frustrating, but to think he's going to get fired or to assume that he should be fired, to me is just, it goes against exactly what you want this organization to be. Sorry, Gager. Go ahead, man. Like I got carried away.
You go ahead. It's good. It's all right, man. Vent. This is what we're here for. Talk. We're in the circle of trust here. I said it this morning. He's at the beginning of this whole thing. He said, embrace the adversity. And they've they've just embraced it just a little bit too much, and it's a little bit too much on the. They married this thing, so yeah, I'm like you, Dusty. With most of the teams I've played with in the past, there has been the chemistry set at the beginning to find something that works, and yes, there's subtle tinkers here and there and stuff, but I think there is something to keep the same people together for a longer extended period of time than if it doesn't work, then we got to try something else. And I know you have, if nothing works, then you have to change things. But to Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, they know they're going to be playing, and so the bottom six guys, I know it shouldn't creep into the way that you think, but if you don't have a game that your coach thinks you should have, and all of a sudden you're out of the lineup, you start playing to stay in the lineup and stop playing to win the hockey game. And that's not how your mindset should be going into the playoffs.
Oh, here we are. Oilers down 3-0. All right, I did say we only have one question for Keep It or Clip It today, because it's a question of monumental emotional proportions. Answer this question, boys, as we wrap up. And if you've been watching, subscribe to the podcast, Two Guys and a Goalie. If you're listening to this on the podcast, thank you for the support. Leave your thoughts in the Apple Podcast comment section and give us a 5-star rating. That would be great. Here we go. It pains me to even ask this question. Tonight will be Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' last game as an Edmonton Oiler. Keep it or clip it.
I'm going to keep it.
Whoa.
Yeah, horses cost a lot of money, so he's going to be looking for the greener pastures. I think he's been here a long time. I think enough's enough. He's going to be looking somewhere else. And all the power to him. He's given everything he has to this organization and stuff. But I think this is, if they do lose, I think he's gone next year anyway. I think that's it for the Nuge.
Oh man, Cass, you go.
I'm gonna clip it. I think he goes to free agency to test the waters, and I think he ends up coming back to Edmonton, and the opportunity to play with Leon and to play with McDavid keeps him here for a little bit longer. So I'm gonna clip it. I think he stays.
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing him not staying. Yeah, I'll have to clip it as well.
We have to remember that he will be one of the most sought after free agents if he does go to free agent. I think he's like number 2 on Saravalli's list right now. Like, it's not a huge free agency class, so that's good news for him. I mean, if he wants it, but it's also important for the Oilers. I mean, if you think you're going to go out and magically find beans and replace 4 or 5 guys this offseason, that might not be as easy as you'd think, especially if you're going to these teams going, hey, so I know we were swept by the Jets in the first round, but come play with us. You know what I mean? Like, you'd like to be able to sell a few guys on this, and I'm not too sure that's going to be easy to do. All right, boys. Well, we'll see what we got going on Thursday. Maybe we're breaking down Game 5, like post-day Game 5. Who knows? All right, that's going to do it. Good holiday episode, boys. Cass, that's some good dadding there while doing a podcast, buddy. I'm impressed.
You know what? I do what I can. It wasn't perfect, but you know what? I didn't get scored on 3 times in under 4 minutes. So
everybody's still alive and breathing. Mission accomplished in my house. Gage, Herdan, enjoy the rest of your Monday, boys.
Have a good one, boys.